Hello, everyone. How y'all doing? Hope you're doing all right. I'm still in the hospital. Um, Probably go home in a day or two. They actually wanted to send me home yesterday. I just didn't feel like it. Boy, I look rough. I just didn't feel like, what's up, bracelet boy? Schnoodle doodles. Hey, little cousin. Is your Minecraft Java or Bedrock? Hey, MK. Hey, Lexix. What's up, Danny? Hey, Smarty. So, still in the hospital. Um, I Probably home Monday. They actually wanted to send me home yesterday, but I wasn't ready. I was still a little scared to go home. Um, but I feel better about it today. Um, a lot of praying. A lot of y'all praying. I appreciate it. So I had some swelling. Turned out to be a bad infection. Don't know how I got it, but I got it. I'm still on IV. I don't have, I'm not hooked up, but they're administering antibiotics every so many hours, a bag of them, and it has helped a lot. Now I'm just in pain all over, just because when you're this big, it's kind of uncomfortable sleeping in hospital beds, and the chairs aren't really big enough. But I am setting up. I got a chair that's not really big enough, but it's big enough I can squeeze in and sit up, so I'm not laid down all the time on a bed that's not thick enough for me. Um, but I'm feeling lots better. I haven't ignored everybody between a bunch of YouTube comments, social media comments, and then just personal friends and family. And I woke up to 100 something messages. Um, I've been stoned basically. I don't take medicine very often, and they gave me a something through my IV for pain down in the emergency room the other night, and I don't know what it was. I remember laughing at the doctor and then passing out. Um, and then they had me on something called Norcos, and I'm supposed to get them every 4 hours, but I've only been taking it like every 12 because I don't like being foggy. But I mean, I passed out. I mean, I've been completely out of it. Like they've came in and taken vitals and didn't even wake me up. I was so out of it. Um, but I'm feeling better, and like I said, should be home the next couple of days. But I just want to touch base again with y'all. Let y'all know how much I appreciate y'all. Like I said, all the help, all the support. Um, Thank God I got some insurance. Still going to be expensive, but I got some insurance. Look at this teeny tiny can of Pepsi. I don't even like Pepsi, but I need some caffeine. Look at that. I'm a giant. Thank you. Thank you for the prayers. Um, how are all y'all doing? Big lobster. Teeny tiny Pepsi. To put it in perspective, yeah, I'm huge, but look at the Pepsi compared to my phone. They're probably going to walk in here any minute. If they walk in, I've got to cut the live stream. Not that they care that I'm live streaming. It's just they can't be anywhere on it for their. It's against their job, to roll in here wearing the hospital stuff and be caught on a live stream. Huge phone, but so if they walk in, I'll have to kill the live stream. But you understand that there's liability issues at play. Um, that lighting is like in the weirdest. I'm getting the Star Trek lens flare. I just played some Minecraft for a little bit. did a video. When I get off here, I'm going to upload it. So Jeff is playing, my brother, and it's really cool because I've been dying for him to play. First of all, you got to realize this is a man who's 52 years old who's never played a game like this. Now he plays games like Eve Online and Eve Echoes. It's a space game. He plays World of Tanks and World of Planes. He had no interest in playing Minecraft, and I finally just pushed him to play it. He's only been playing a couple days, and he has picked up so much. And here's the reason I wanted him to play. First of all, he's really good at games. But my brother is insanely artistic. Like, super artistic. He can play any instrument you put in front of him. He can write music. He can sing. But he can also draw. Like, he can draw it. Kelden! He can draw anything. So once he figures out the mechanics of Minecraft, I expect we're going to see some beautiful builds out of him. I'm glad you're able to make it, MK. But yeah, so I did a video just showing y'all what he's done so far just in a couple of days and what he's already figured out. And plus showing off some of my decorating skills because, top notch. But hello, Muffin the Destroyer. Is that who I think it is? Muffin, are your real life initials ADR? Okay. But no. But yeah, I just want to update y'all. I did a really good video on Minecraft today, and then I lost it all because for some reason my game recorder decided to crash and erase the entire 11 minutes. Okay. Well, the Muffin that I was thinking of is a 32-year-old female from Alabama, and her initials are not CG. But glad you're here, and thank you very much. Thank you. But yeah, so like I said, really nothing to add. I mean, nothing going on. I'm in the hospital. What's up, Obama? I'm feeling a lot better, Keldon. I'm sore. I'm just achy. I hurt all over, but I feel better emotionally and mentally. I know I'm improved. It's just, I don't know. Some of y'all do know, some of you don't know. I have a hip that needs replacing. It's completely shot. And so I have to kind of watch it. But being crammed into some of this equipment and beds and chairs that's not big enough for me has really got my hip hurting worse than it has in months. Excuse me, that Pepsi's catching up with me. But I've slept away several days up here just with what they've had me on. But I'll recap again real quick. Um, had some swelling come up real bad that scared me. And so I went to the hospital and they admitted me because it was that bad. And they've had me on IV antibiotics. They said it was an infection. Don't know how it was. It's not an STD. I'm not a dirty hoe. But they said I could have picked it up anywhere. Um, I do cut myself a lot because I'm rough and tumble. And I could have just got something I didn't get cleaned in time. That happened to me several years ago. I had a trailer fall on my leg and cut my leg, and rust got in the wound. But so they put me on. They put me on an antibiotic IV every 12 hours, and it seems to have been doing the job. And then they're actually coming back in here in another 35, 45 minutes to do another one. And then more meds and vitals and all that. But I do got to say that the nursing staff here has been amazing. It's funny. I'm on the women's and I'm on like the having babies floor because the virus has got the hospitals crazy. Um, I mean, it was 23 hours from the time I got here to the time I actually got into a room. That's how bad the virus. And this hospital is one of the ones where people are usually in and out very quick. But yeah, for me, signing in at the ER, it was 23 hours before they got me in a room. Um, I do not have a disease. Um, right schnoodle. Um, but it was just some kind of infection. Don't know what, don't know why, but they're fixing it. The swelling has gone down. Um, and then I've just got some more choices to make about my life. Um, I gotta get the weight off. This would not have gotten as bad if I wasn't as fat as I am. Um, yeah, I wasn't really into it the past couple of days. I was still kind of out of it, Keldon. Um, so I got some hard decisions to make about my weight loss journey. My whole thing was I wanted to do it naturally with diet and exercise, but I may have to get some surgical help. Um, just because I don't want to spend another couple years like this. I want to get the weight off. I want to feel better all around. Um, any more questions not related to why I'm in the hospital? Thanks, Obama. Hey, Daniel. How y'all like this hospital gown? This is gonna be all the rave. Fall fashion scene 2021. Thanks, Deep. That's right, Relentless. That glare is literally just, oh, that's better. The gown is making a comeback. Don't call it a comeback. I've been here for years. My computer won't support doing Minecraft Live. Let me tell you what, y'all see how fuzzy this video is? And maybe it's just because some people on it. This is the hospital's internet. It's not the greatest. Yeah, I've just all right, so I'll tell you what I've been binging. And I've slept through probably 15 episodes. Star Trek Enterprise. So I've never been a big Star Trek, Star Wars fan. I mean, I've watched all the movies. Um, I know Star Trek, Star Wars are not the same, but I really Star Trek Enterprise, which I've seen it before. That's why I put it on because it doesn't matter if I fall asleep. Star Trek Enterprise is my favorite Star Trek uh, thing. Scott Bakula. I grew up. I do have a window. I have a window big enough for me to jump out of, but they don't open. But right, Muffin, I've got this. Cam Newton ain't the only one that can wear dresses. I got one, but but Enterprise is my favorite Star Trek thing. I like because it's well, first of all, it's closer to us. You know, it's the first we're leaving the solar system and exploring. Um, they're more relatable. Um, and then I like Scott Bakula. I loved him in Quantum Leap in the '90s. Love him in NCIS New Orleans. I just like Scott Bakula. Loved him in Necessary Roughness, the football movie. I just like that guy. Um, I liked Doctor Who until this recent Doctor, and it had nothing to do with her being a woman. I didn't understand why they had to make him a woman, but I know that all shows are going to put their own politics in them one way or another. And I know that this show is made in England, which is a very anti-defend yourself country. No offense to any English people, but I've got friends and family over there, and they're being told now they can't even carry big flashlights because it could be a weapon. Um, a lot of the cops don't even carry guns, um, and apparently even knives are illegal now. And like I said, I get that you know what, that's y'all's business. That's y'all's country. I'm not gonna get mad about y'all's law. I don't understand people get mad that Americans get to have guns. So I'm not gonna get mad that y'all can't. But also I don't really care about when they get so political in a show it takes away from the show. Supergirl did the same thing. Um, Supergirl, I can't remember what season. I think it was season 2. They made it so much about her sister struggling with being a lesbian that it took away from the story. And I get that's a real life thing, and I'm not insensitive to that plot. And definitely put it in there. Put it in there because I get people want to be represented. They want characters they can connect with and feel like they're not alone. I understand that. But it had nothing like they would just interject it for an entire episode at a time, and it had nothing to do with the plot. And also, I'm sorry, you're in 2020, 2021 California. Coming out of the closet is not a big deal. We got people coming out of the closet as teenagers in Alabama. So somebody who's in San Francisco, no, it's not a big deal that they're coming out of the closet. And it may be to them, but it took away from the plot. And that's like I said, I don't care. Put your politics in, but don't take away from the plot. Well, the new doctor, I tried to like her. I wanted to like her. And it was like, and Doctor Who has always had a don't kill policy. That's part of who he is. Like Superman. Superman tries not to kill. And I think that's an honorable policy because when you are OP'd to where you can kill anything, that means you should be able to stop almost anything without killing it, and you should, if you can stop it. But this first episode I watched of the new Doctor Who lady, within 5 minutes in, somebody's stupid for having a gun. And then later on, there's a point to where somebody's like, hey, do you have a knife? And she's like, only an idiot would carry a knife. And I'm like, an idiot who wants to cut open a box? I mean, so it was like too heavy-handed, like just beating on it like for no purpose. And I'm like, okay, you're just being ridiculous. Like, only an idiot would carry a knife. Carrying a knife since I was 4 years old. I've only ever cut 3 people. So, I mean, hey, I'm 42, 43, so I've got a good track record. But I'm joking about the only ever cut 3 people. But I love all the most recent Doctors. But, I'm having a brain fart. Picaldi, is that his name? Peter Picaldi? The old guy. I know somebody. Peter Picaldi, the actor's name? Come on, somebody knows it. Somebody Google it. Capaldi. Yes, I loved him. Don't get me wrong. I loved Matt Smith. And I think David Tennant is an amazing actor. David Tennant. All right, Coney, thanks for showing up. David Tennant is like the world's best villain, especially if you want to be a little cheesy. He's amazing. And when David Tennant's part 1, I teared up. If y'all are Doctor Who fans, hey Jay, thanks. If y'all are Doctor Who fans, y'all remember that where he was regenerating and he came back as himself. When he was like, I don't want to go. I mean, that just got me. Um, I'm going to eyeball water now. But I love David Tennant. But even the one right before him, Chris, I can't remember his name. I liked him too. He was actually in The Leftovers as the priest, as the preacher. But I like him. But I don't know. Capaldi's probably my favorite. Just like he was just such a cool old dude. And the fact that he played a character under a previous doctor. Hey, he is awesome in Good Omens. Another, they're making a season 2, which is I don't know how they're doing a season 2 because there was only one book and they covered the book in season 1. But yeah, he was great. They're actually talking about Michael Sheen, Christopher Eccleston, yes, but they're actually talking about Michael Sheen, the other actor in Good Omens, for the next Doctor. Because even BBC was like, okay, we messed up with this lady doctor. We wrote her wrong. But Peter Capaldi, he played a character in a previous Doctor Who when they went to Pompeii when it exploded. He was one of the people in Pompeii. But my favorite part is that Peter Capaldi, before he played Doctor Who, he was a Who doctor. He was a doctor for the World Health Organization on World War Z. So he was a Who doctor, Doctor Who Doctor Who. And I'm just rambling now. Y'all can tell I'm feeling better, and I haven't really talked for days because now I'm just blah 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 blah. But yeah, I think Michael Sheen will make a great next Doctor. But you know what? Yes, Sir Terry Patrick is dead, but guys, I'm just brain fogging. The other author, the one who wrote it with Terry Pratchett. He wrote The Sandman. He wrote American Gods. You're supposed to put the word effing in front of his name. I can't believe I'm brain farting this deep. Neil Gaiman. I remember it before it came up. Effing Neil Gaiman. Terry Pratchett may be dead, but Neil Gaiman's still alive, and him and Terry Pratchett wrote that together. And apparently he's going to be very involved with season 2. And you know what? He had to be involved with season 1 because they kept it pretty close to the book. They did a good job on that. Good Omens is a great story. I love it. So I'm excited for season 2. Captain Jack. Yes, Captain Jack Harkness. Oh my God, he just loves everybody. His character is so funny. And you know what? We relate to him because he's an American. And I think that's why they wrote him in there, is because they wanted they wanted us Yanks watching their show, because guess what? You get Americans watching the show, it's money. And come on, everybody in the U.S. can relate to Captain Jack Harkness. I mean, he's got something for everybody. That guy also was in Arrow. He played Merlin. He was great in Arrow. So I'll go ahead. Yeah, we're about 25 minutes in. I'll go ahead and address it again. So about a week and a half ago, I had some swelling happen, and I ignored it at first because I'd been sick and I hadn't slept laying down. So I figured I just maybe had some edema. But it got really worse and it got scary. Like, I deal with edema normally just from being heavy, but this was a complete different area. I never had edema before, and it swelled up really big and it made stuff difficult. So I'm like, let's go to the ER. Because when it's getting in the way of daily function, it's time to go get checked out. So I go to the ER. They admitted me, and they put me on antibiotics. They said it's some kind of infection, and I don't know the doctor words. I don't even know the antibiotics. I told them, I was like, well, Dr. House would put me on a broad spectrum of antibiotics and corticosteroids. Well, they did the broad spectrum antibiotics, and it's not lupus because it's never lupus on Dr. House. But yeah, they've had me on multiple different IV bags of antibiotics, and I've got this IV hook up here, and it's in the way, and it's painful because I snagged it, so it's half torn out. They had it here for days, but last night I'm like, please pull it out. I can't stand it anymore. I'm in the little needle there was actually bent at a right angle because I abused it so much. But yeah, so that's why I'm in here. A really bad infection that caused super horrible swelling, like the part of the body that was swelled up like 8 times bigger than it should be. They've got it down to almost normal. But yeah, it's good. It's better. I'll probably go home the next couple of days. They actually wanted to send me home a couple of days ago, and I'm like, no, don't send me home. I'm not ready. I want to make sure. As much as I hate being here, I wanted to make sure. Thank you, Mr. Digges. But because it is painful being here, just because I'm so big that I can't get comfortable. My hip pain's been worse the past few days than it has in months. Sorry, I had to scratch my leg and I had to move it aside. But, they're addressing that issue. But now I got to make some serious decisions about my health. Is it time to quit trying to lose the weight naturally and get surgery? And so I'm seriously considering getting weight loss surgery now. All right. So yes, Dr. Jack was awesome. He was such a deep character, and he always popped up at the funniest times too. And the fact that he ended up being the face of Bo, that was fitting. And I get that, Boulevard. Oh, Muffin, I feel you. So I lost my home last September, and I was homeless. And fortunately, I had a friend that let us stay with them. But I was homeless from October until April 30th, till May 1st. So I spent 6 months homeless. I am so sorry to hear you're dealing with that, Muffin. I know what a struggle it is. I'm glad my videos do help. I hope you and your boyfriend do come through this on the other side. I hope you're at least in a weather-friendly part of California like San Diego. That hits me. Like I said, I understand being homeless. Thanks, Sebastian. I've listened about 3 or 4 times. So if you want to play back the video when you get a chance, I cover it real quickly. So every time they come to stick me with something, Omen, I tell them I'm afraid of needles. And they're like, really? And they don't realize that they're looking at like 6 different tattoos. One of them's like that big. It does, Stuart. Hey, Sausage, haven't seen you in a while. If I have, I just haven't noticed as I've been out of it. Yes, I've watched the Hunger Games. I actually enjoyed those. I enjoyed the books on those way back when. 3 a.m. So where is it? Where is it 3 a.m.? England? Well, Omen, first of all, congrats for realizing who you are. But there's some women I wanted to be, but it didn't make me want to be transgender. I just wanted to be that woman just because she was awesome. Like Ripley. Everybody wants to be Ripley, even men. But I don't want to be a woman. I just want to be Ripley. Or Sarah Connor. And I may be showing my age by naming these. Okay, yeah, I thought it was. So we did some genealogy research and we've traced back because when you do your genealogy, you got mom, you got dad, and then from dad you've got his mom, his dad. So Muffin, I normally try to live stream every Monday between 4:30 and 5:30. But I've just been random streaming because I haven't really been able to make videos. And I kind of laid down the challenge to do 30 videos in September. I'm behind, but I count the live streams as a video. I think I'll still catch up. But yeah, Clara's awesome. Clara was a doctor in her own rights. But kudos for you for some self-realization. That takes a lot. Realizing who you are and then owning it, in my opinion, are huge steps on the journey to mental health. But anyway, so back to ancestry. I was tracing straight through my dad's, and on my dad's dad, and we hit a gap that we couldn't find the replacement in. Because the way the census in the U.S. works is, well, thank you, Omen. I'm not the most politically correct person, Omen, and I'm probably offend a lot of people who are part of the LGBTQ and whatever other letters. And actually, I get told I offend people by saying that. I don't mean it. I don't care if somebody's different and chooses to be different. I'm just not a very politically correct person. I mean, and I probably butchered the whole gender thing as far as what is acceptable. I struggle with the pronoun thing, like the he, she, him, her, male, female. I'm good with. Hey, Jama Snoob, but and I don't care if you're a dude and you want to be called ma'am. You know what? As long as you're not a butthole to me, I'll call you ma'am. But now, if you come in here and you're looking like Lou Ferrigno or Arnold Schwarzenegger, and I call you sir, and you flip your stuff and start yelling at me that it's ma'am like that dude did in GameStop, I'm probably not going to call you ma'am because you're a butthole. And there is no way for me to know that you wanted to be a ma'am. In the same way, you roll in here with big boobs and curves and you tell me it's sir, I'm going to be like, yes, sir. But if you start screaming at me and calling me a bigot because I didn't know that you wanted to be a dude because I'd never met you, I got a problem with that. So I'm cool. If I get it wrong, politely tell me and I'll politely call you whatever you want to be called. I do have a problem with the they. Not because I have a problem with you wanting to be a they. I just don't know how to they that. And so that's just my own not being very well at adapting to society. And the biggest thing is, and I don't know if some people just want confrontation, or I know a lot of people have been ostracized, so they feel like everybody is trying to ostracize them and come at them. Because I got a gay buddy that he's always thinking that because he's older, like he's in his 50s. So he's old enough to where being gay would still get your butt kicked in some areas around here. And nobody would do anything about it. Like around here in the 80s, if somebody kicked your butt because you were gay and you called the cops, they'd be like, well, have you tried not being gay? And that's just how it was. And that's not just an Alabama thing. That was everywhere. Even in California, it was that way when you got outside of, you know, the tolerant areas. But I mean, people try to say what they want to say about Alabama. Now it's not a big deal. We don't care. We don't care. We just want you to be nice. But he is old enough to where he did get mistreated because of his orientation. And it scarred him mentally. So he always sees that somebody's trying to come at him. And I'll just, I looked at him one day, I'm like, dude, you're fat. You're unkempt. You're sloppy. You got a bigger beard than me. You don't, and I said, I hate to say this because it's you don't look gay. You don't act gay other than the liking guys thing. So I don't know why you get offended when somebody doesn't know you're gay. And I don't know why it matters. Why should somebody know you're gay on the job? What does it have to do with anything? But that's my thing. Just don't be a butthole. Be who you are. And if you want somebody to know who you identify as, politely tell them, and I'm not saying that people shouldn't automatically be nice because everybody should automatically be nice. But me not knowing that you want to be a dude or you want to be a chick when I don't know you, that's not me being rude. That's me not knowing who you are. And this whole assuming my identity, no, that's bullcrap, y'all. That's human nature. Even if you're transgender, you still instinctively recognize somebody else as a him or her until they tell you. But that's just it. Anyway, y'all distracted me from my story. And if I offend anybody with that, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to offend. My whole thing was just be who you are and be nice. If you want people to be nice with you. What's up, Jake? So anyway, the Wales thing. Omen, you're from Boulevard. You're from Wales. You still in Boulevard? Okay. Gru, what's up, buddy? So, tracking through my dad's dad. So here in the U.S., the census and death certificates. So you can find a census, you find somebody's word, you find a death certificate, you find information of where they died and where they were born. It doesn't tell their parents' names, but it will tell where each parent's from. And so we traced back, and we can't find that name because that census was destroyed. But one of my ancestors who was born in 1820 in South Carolina, his mom was from Wales and his dad was from England. So it was far enough back. But now on my grandmother, my dad's mom, we've traced that all the way back to the 700s in Norway. So shout out to Norway. Y'all had a very horrible king way back when called Eric the Blood Axe. I'm scrolling up. Omen, you're the one from Norway, right? So anyway, that horrible king, Eric the Blood Axe, I'm direct descendant from him. It's kind of cool being descended from a king called Eric the Blood Axe. But then I found out he was kind of a jerk. But I'm still going to own it. I'm royalty, bitches. But basically, and I don't know, because also when we did DNA, heavy Scottish in our DNA. But we're Scottish because of the people who went from Norway to Scotland. So I don't know why. I guess they intermingled. But yeah, so our DNA is, when I say our, I'm talking about like my siblings and mine, um, heavily Irish, Scottish, and then Welsh, English, and Norway. So that's our split. It's split the heaviest between Scottish and Irish, um, and then the others are pretty evenly English, Welsh, and Norway. So we're super white over here. Like they like my DNA took the Asian out of the Caucasian. I mean, we're just super white, which was a surprise because our whole family is pretty dark complected. Especially I spent so many years in an office job, I lost my complexion. But I used to be dark enough that because I had outdoors jobs and I was always outdoors hunting and fishing and playing sports. That so used to when you wrote a check somewhere, and I know a lot of y'all have never even written a check because they don't hardly do them anymore. Where you would write it, they would write down your race on the check to help identify you. And more often than not, they would ask me if I was black or white. That's how dark skinned I was. And so when we did a DNA test, we found out that it's all super white. We're like, where's the dark skin come from? Something's not coming through that DNA test. I've always like, I mean, I don't know a lot about Norway, but they, I've always loved Norse mythology. Like, I, the very first, my very first introduction to a foreign pantheon, I will say, I guess, was Norse. And it's really funny because I grew up in a super strict religious home, Christian home. I'm a very Christian person myself. Um, and it was so funny because everybody thought of my mom as like, my mom was super religious, super Christian. She was a wonderful lady. And they just couldn't believe my mom would buy me books on other mythologies and religions. She is interested. She loves great stories. And that's the thing about it. Norse mythology has great stories. Um, I mean, one of the first big books I remember reading, I was like 5 years old. And mom gave me this book that was like that thick and that big. Um, that was all about Norse mythology stories. It was great. I really enjoyed it. And so I've had a love for Norse mythology way before I ever knew who the Avengers were, before I knew Thor was a thing. Um, I want to visit Norway. Tell you where I really want to visit. I want to visit Iceland. Um, One of my cousins actually just randomly sent me a gift a couple months ago. Uh, Norse Myths by Neil Gaiman, by Neil effing Gaiman. Boonana, hey Skilla. But yeah, so and also, hey Purple, there's a show on Netflix. Now Norwegian shows, it's almost like watching something that was made, and I'm not trying to slam on y'all. It's just how it is. Watching a Norwegian television show that's made today is almost like watching a TV show that was made in the 70s in America. But y'all have a show over there that it's not a great show, but I love it. It's called Ragnarok. Anybody watch Ragnarok on Netflix? I know somebody's watched it. Come on, Norway people. So I've twisted and pulled on this IV, and I've got it hurting. Oh, they're going to have to replace it. So I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. Thanks, Henry. So it's kind of slow and it's kind of dour, and you'll hate the mother because she's the world's worst mother. But this show is still good. It's written well. I enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to season 3. Also, there's a show that is hilarious that's made in sometimes I love watching shows from other countries because I don't know how to. Okay, so I grew up in a very rural area. So something that was popular in the 80s became popular in the 90s in the little rural area I grew up in. That's just how it was. That's just, a little behind. Takes a little longer for fads to get to where we're at. And so now it doesn't happen anymore because of the internet. But you got to remember, I grew up before the internet. And so if you were just, hey, I am the hell. Thank you, Boonana. So you might see somebody, if you saw somebody in a city who looked dated, like, wow, that's last year's fashion. Well, that's because they didn't know it. It took, 4 or 5 years for last year's stuff to get there. And it seems like it happens a lot with smaller country television. I like New Zealand shows. They do the same thing. But there's a show called The Almighty Johnsons. It's on Amazon, and it's enjoyable. The first vampire. So Omen, honestly, how I deal with it, I called my aunt. Well, I sent my aunt a message, and I'm like, "Hey, can you call the church ladies and ask them to pray for me?" And I put it in God's hands. I mean, that's honestly how I deal with it. And I just have to tell my own mind and my own emotions that, hey, God can take care of you. So trust in him and it's going to be okay. And so that's how I deal with it. If anybody's watched this long, y'all about to get secret time. And I may retell this at one point. So I'm so fat that I'm embarrassed of my body. My regular doctor has not seen me naked. And so knowing that I was going to be completely exposed and naked in front of people here, it's one of the reasons I almost didn't go. It crossed my mind. Is it worth just seeing this go away or kill me to keep me having to expose myself? But then I finally God, help me deal with it. And let me tell you what, these little nurses up here have been so nice, so great. They've been godsends. They've really made this whole process a lot better. But yeah, Omen, I just put it in God's hands and just try to have faith. All right. So I'm going to recommend series, which is going to give you way more than 5. Now, I do a lot of urban fantasy, not a lot of sci-fi, but fantasy. Number 1, and this is directly towards Boulevard of Broken Ants question about 5 books I recommend. Number 1, Monster Hunter International. Now, a lot of people are going to quit listening after I said that. because a lot of people don't like the author. He gets accused of being a white supremacist, even though he's half Filipino. I think he's half Filipino. He's a person of color, but he gets accused of being a white supremacist because somebody on the far stupid left said that he was, and it spread. He gets told he's not a real author because he's a conservative person. But Monster Hunter International, now, if you're one of those people who cry because you saw the word gun, don't read it. It's gun porn. It's shoot 'em up, bang bang. Uh, I'm a pew pew enthusiast, and so I like it because it's the first one that actually gets all the firearm related stuff correct because he is a firearms instructor. He's also a former accountant. Um, but Monster Hunter International, there's several books out. I love those. Um, the Dresden Files by Jim Butcher. So Monster International is by Larry Correia. The Dresden Files by Jim Butcher. There's like 18 of those books now. The first three, you're going to think, oh, this guy can't write. But after the first three books, he gets better. You can tell the first book, if you like Violence Boulevard, you're going to love Monster Hunter International. The first book of the Dresden Files was actually something he wrote for school, 20 some odd years ago. Jim Butcher's great. Amazing guy, great author, especially after book 3. James Marsters, Spike from Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Angel, he does the audiobooks. He does a great job with them. So, number 1 recommendation, Monster International series. Number 2 recommendation, Jim Butcher's Dresden Files series. Like I said, those 2 series alone are going to give you over 30 books. And because there's side books and all this kind of stuff. Number 3, this is a bit of chick literature. It's more urban fantasy. It's got a little bit of this, not smut, but it's got a little bit of romance scenes, but not enough to where these are fast paced. Boulevard. Now this one is a girly book, but it's so funny because myself, my brother, and my brother-in-law, these are like our guilty pleasures. Thanks, Just Mize. They're the Molly Harper. She has a few different series, but a couple of them tie together. She has these books. It's called the Jane Jameson books. They're about a chick who gets turned into a vampire. And then it takes place in a town called Half Moon Hollow, which is in Kentucky. And so there's also there's 4 or 5 or 6 Jane Jameson books, but there's another 8 or 10 books about Half Moon Hollow where this Jane chick's in them. And I can relate to them very well because I'm in the South and they're Southern. And they're mostly, a lot of those are audiobook only. I love the narrator. Her name's Amanda Ronconi. A lot of times I'll put on the book to go to sleep because it's like listening to a family member talk. So the Jane Jameson / Half Moon Hollow books, that's another recommendation. If you haven't read The Lord of the Rings, you need to read The Lord of the Rings. The Hunger Games books are good. The Harry Potter books, I enjoyed those. But next recommendation, this is a book series that I loved. What really drugged me into urban fantasy. And I got disappointed with the final book in the series. But the author, he's such a sweetheart. The Iron Druid Chronicles by Kevin Hearn. It's about a 2,000-year-old druid, the only living remaining druid on Earth. And it's amazing. And there's 9 books and several side stories. And all the way up until the final book, I love them. And I also love the author. Super sweetheart of a guy. Um, I've met him twice. I met him in 2011, and I met him again in 2016. And this is a New York Times best-selling author who lives out, west. I met him in Nashville in 2011, in June of 2011, and then he came to Huntsville in 2016 or 2017. He is so in touch with his fans that he recognized my face from the last time I saw him that many years ago, and he remembered me from social media that he knew my name when he saw me in the bookstore. Like he had slipped in the side, and he's like, it like kind of slipped in. Nobody knew he was in the bookstore yet, and he recognized. He goes, "Hey, you're Dale. You came. I know you from Facebook, and you came and saw me in Nashville." And he hugged me. So Kevin Hearn, sweetheart of a man. But yeah, those are my recommendations: Monster Hunter National and Dresden Files. Those two will keep those will keep you reading for 3 months if you read every day. And then after that, the Molly Harper's Half Moon Hollow books. Um, American Gods by Neil Gaiman is an amazing read. Um, yeah, American Gods is great. Um, I'm trying not to burp on y'all. American Gods is great. The Iron Druid Chronicles is great. Of course, Hunger Games, Lord of the Rings. You can't go wrong there. Um, I recommend all of those. Also, probably because I was as big as the room they were having the meeting in, JD. All right, Omen, I appreciate you showing up. Hope everything goes well with you, and hope you have a great day. So, I have not read the Percy Jackson books. Um, I'm a little older than those, but I think I'm still going to read them. So they're rebooting that um, into a series on Disney Plus. The author was not happy with the movies. He refused to watch the movies. He was so unhappy with them. Um, but thanks, Ty. But yeah, the author is getting very hands-on involved with the series, and so they're going to do a series on Disney Plus for the Percy Jackson books, which I think is really awesome because I'd like to see more of those. What up, Wolf? What you know? Yes, Groot. The Stranger's good. And read at least one of read at least one Dean Koontz book. His stories are all entertaining, but if you read one, you've read them all. There's going to be some supernatural thing happen. There's going to be a dog that helps save the day. Some magically enhanced special magic dog. Oh, I watched the films. I enjoyed them. Uh, but I'd never read the book, so I didn't know to dislike them, And that happens a lot. A lot of people who really love some movies um, that never read the books. I never read the Narnia books growing up. So I watched Supernatural all as it was, like I watched it as it was coming on, as it, when it was new, all the way up through, I don't know, the eighth season. And then I just lost contact with it. I've tried to go back and watch. I'm not caught up. They get really repetitive, Ty. Like really repetitive. They're enjoyable. They're not bad stories, but you can't sit down. It's not like David Badalchi. He writes like real life crime, conspiracy, mystery novels. You can read a few of his books in a row. Same thing with Tom Clancy. You can read a few Tom Clancy books in a row. Um, but you can't read a few Dean Koontz books in a row. I'm not slamming him because he's a way better writer than I'll ever be. But you need to read a Dean Koontz book and not read another one until you've read 7 or 8 other authors in between, because you just feel like they'll not be as good because you'll feel like you're just reading the same thing over and over and over. What's up, little sister? Y'all say hi to AD, my little sister. Okay, guys, I'm going to have to get off here because Hospital Popo's here. Not really. My nurse is here, and she's going to want to like proke and prod and do all kinds of mean stuff to me. No, actually, these nurses. I haven't dealt with this nice lady yet, but they've been amazing. It's the best I've ever seen. She's mean. She looks mean.
You have any pain?
A little bit. But so no. Okay. But guys, let me get off here. I love you guys. You are amazing. Thanks y'all for coming here and talking to me. God bless all y'all. Love y'all. Roll Tide.